Hello, everyone.
What is up, causing a ruckus family? It's us again, the gang. We weren't here last week, but we're here now, and that's what matters.
Episode 21, baby.
21 weeks.
Something
You
super.
sure you get? Oh, go on, Lee. Lucas. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say something super embarrassing that no one. I don't know if anyone told me that you guys can sometimes hear me breathing into the microphone. I found out last weekend. Yeah, I'm super self-conscious now.
I didn't know that happened.
Yeah.
Well, if I was just
Who
super
told
into the. I'm pretty sure you guys told me.
Fuck.
What? Oh, okay.
We probably.
Matty just said he's like, yo,
It was a
like,
wild weekend.
I never noticed. I'm like, Matty, you're the one who told me it's so annoying. So.
Yeah, appreciate you guys again. It's Lucas, Lee, Matty, as usual. 21 weeks. I can't believe it. Can't believe it's been that long that we've been doing this. That you guys have been here supporting us.
Yeah, we should find a way to watermark. Oh, never mind. I didn't realize when I spoke it said my name. Because I was gonna say you always say Lucas Lee Matty, but it's like okay, who's who?
Yeah, it says it
Who am
says
I?
it there too. Yeah, I don't know who I am.
Who am I?
Who are you? It does that. But yeah, it does say our names there. Yours is just one word though. Yours isn't cool like ours. Probably.
Oh, was yours?
Yeah, well, when
I'll change that.
No, when you put in your account info, did you just put like first name Lacey Paulsing? Good.
Yeah, like Peter Parker.
Like McLovin, dude.
McLovin, that's right.
Guys McLovin.
Yo, I've got a very controversial topic for us to shoot the shit about.
Oh, let's hear it.
So this came up on the radio sometime last week.
It can't be that controversial if it was on the radio.
Oh, trust me, it is.
Okay, let's hear it.
As far as radio shit goes, it's very controversial. Brought to my attention by my wife to be. So, thanks for bringing that to my attention. So, what do you classify crackers as?
Sorry, do
Not
you
a
mean,
cookie.
No, it's
Like-
not. No, it's not a cookie.
Like
What
what?
was a fucking
classic-
cookie?
Like
So-
what kind of snack it is?
Ooh, you said a very interesting word there. So you think it's a snack?
Yes, I would say
It's
crackers.
a snack food. Crackers are
Yeah.
a snack food, Lucas.
I wouldn't put as chips, so I think I would agree with snack as well.
Well, should part a
sorry,
snack.
I was gonna say, would chips not be a snack?
Well then, you got me good there, pal.
Sorry,
No,
but you did
so-
say it would be a snack, right?
I would say it's a snack. Yeah.
Okay, so Lucas thinks it's a snack. Matt thinks it's a snack. I think it's a snack too. But could you believe that people are arguing that it is an appetizer slash side? Like it's food, not a snack.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess the way it's sort of like
What the-
you get soup.
Okay, like if you have
get soup and
Lunchables.
crackers.
Yeah, it's a side for the soup. I
No,
guess.
it's a snack for your soup.
It's a
not.
yeah. It's,
No.
I think it depends on the context
No.
here. I think you can make the argument that it is a side, but I think it should primarily be classified as a snack.
See, I'd like to. You know what?
I see what you're saying, but it's very rarely is it.
To get into that too, it's
a
like
side.
you go to a burger place like The Works, and you can get a side of like
Of
their
chips.
chips,
Yeah, that's true.
right?
But that's like that's literally like the only food you can have chips as a side to, like a burger or some kind of sandwich. Like sometimes a clubhouse sandwich, you could get like chips. As
You
a
can have
side.
steak and crackers. Go to the keg. Yo, can I get a side of crackers?
You got them Ritz, baby. Premium plus.
Just the
Like, no.
saltines.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yo, but a steak and cheese cracker? That sounds pretty good. I could fuck with that.
Like on
No.
a cracker.
Like a little piece.
That sounds terrible.
What makes ham different then?
Ham.
That's pork. Like you're asking what animal they come from? Is that
No,
the
no,
differentiation?
no, no. Like, where do you draw the line? And then it's like, no,
just
this
feel like-
cannot be eaten as like on like a charcuterie board.
Because I feel like beef is too stiff.
Oh, my nickname must be beef.
No, it's big.
So they
No,
wouldn't
but
classify as a
Beef and
snack.
crackers. Who eats beef and crackers?
I don't know. I'm just maybe someone does. I don't know. Fuck, I'm
Well,
I'm talking about like your everyday, like beef cuts, like roast beef and shit. I ain't talking about that fucking.
beef tenderloin
tartare
crackers.
Fuck,
It's a Kellogg's family.
Oh,
Kellogg's-
come
oh no, but we talked about this the other
Oh.
day. You look at the back of a ketchup bottle, and they'll give you the ketchup cake We don't talk about the people who
No,
put
but-
these ingredients on there.
Cake.
But tell me that this does not sound good. Beef tenderloin crackers. It's got Parmesan cheese, watercress. I don't know what watercress is. I guess
It's
like
a nut.
I think it's yeah, and then capers, which I think is like a green topping for display. It sounds pretty good.
I didn't even know half the ingredients, and he said it sounded hype.
It looks really
Yeah, I
good.
know, right?
It looks really good. I'd show you, but then I'm not gonna show you.
Yeah, well,
I promise it looks good.
I just thought it was bizarre that that was even a fucking conversation. Like crackers are absolutely a snack food. A snack food that
Yeah, I think
Well,
it's
be used
primarily a
as a side.
snack. It shouldn't ever be referred to primarily as a.
So
as a
when you
side.
have a charcuterie board, though, I guess the crackers are technically a side because your main thing there is cheese and
No,
meat.
no, no, no. Here's the thing. Charcuterie boards are just glorified snack boards. It's all snacks.
Lunchables. It's Lunchables for
It's
adults.
it's glorified Lunchables. Charcuterie boards are just snacks.
Lily
You know
cheese
who eats one of
scratching
those
my
for
back,
dinner?
sorry.
Yeah, you're not supposed.
Get out of here.
Who has those for dinner?
Well, maybe
What,
not for dinner, but
Lunchables?
people have like
Lunchables are
wine
fine.
parties and charcuterie board parties where like all they have is wine and a charcuterie board. Fuck that! I'm trying to eat. Like, don't
Just
invite
have
me
a
over
lot.
for that shit.
Have a lot of the charcuterie board.
Nah.
Lily, stop it.
Oh, just have
Sorry.
have a lot of snacks.
She's not
If
even
someone invited me
there.
over to just have a lot of snacks, that'd be fucked.
That's what Matty does whenever we come over.
It's true.
Yeah, I mean like appetizer.
So you give us crackers then because they're technically appetizers.
I will next
Suppose.
time. I haven't.
No, please don't.
I've never made. I've
Don't
never made
invite
a
us over.
charcuterie board. I'm down to though because I love cheese and I love meat, and I don't mind crackers. Would you be pissed off if it's like fancy meats and fancy cheese and I got like Ritz?
No,
If
yo,
you're like a
Ritz is-
No, Ritz are
is bomb,
fine.
bro.
Ritz are fine.
Ritz is
No,
bomb.
you get
Did you
the
say
premium
Ritz
plus.
is the best? What would you say is the best cracker?
Yo, I hate to say. I guess do these?
Like this includes like snack, like not your like Ritz which are plain. Like I'm saying like you could count Crispers.
So
You know if you want there's Crispers crackers, but like I'm including those. Like what's the best
yo,
cracker?
there's these mini. They call them mini sourdough bread slices. I know it's not crackers, bread slices, but it's that. It's like dried up little sourdough pieces. My God, those things are amazing. They come like garlic parmesan stuff.
Oh, I think I know the ones you're talking
They're
about. Those are
unreal.
I think I'd classify those as crackers.
I don't
What do
know.
you classify me
Like,
as then?
when does pierogi? That's a good, yeah. Like, where do you draw the line then? Like when something. Sorry, what did you say your answer was for favorite cracker?
No, I was saying I don't know.
I'd have to probably
I-
say
I'll
Is
check
it,
it.
is it me?
the big Cheez-Its, Cheese Nits, one of
Those are
two.
pretty good too. What were you saying? Where you draw the line? What?
Like where Luke's is saying, like dried out bread that's seasoned
Oh.
in like in a chip form where it's now considered a cracker and not bread. 'Cause
That's
like
a
those
good-
like
Like
those
it's
little
toast.
baguettes, like those crispy baguettes,
Yeah.
baguette thins, like
Those are so
are those
good.
just bread or are they crackers?
Yo, so is toast a cracker?
Stop.
I don't know what the
Stop.
classification, what makes something a cracker.
Why don't we?
Because chips are fried potatoes.
what makes
feel like-
Crackers is
something?
dried bread.
Toasted bread is crackers.
You guys ready for this?
Yeah.
What makes something a cracker? Being Caucasian.
Oh, fuck off.
A cracker is a flat, dry baked food typically made with flour. Flavors
Ah.
are
Toast is a cracker.
If you salt it.
Crackers are
Salted
often
butter?
branded as a nutritious
No, but you need
and
that.
convenient way to
It's supposed to be.
consume
Oh,
staple
never mind. It
foods.
doesn't say salt.
Hmm,
Yeah,
interesting.
I guess toast is a cracker. So now you're having.
No.
Can I get a breakfast sandwich on crackers?
Sounds like shit.
I hope they just put a bunch of crackers together and like a grid and just smear that shit right over it.
Oh, that was very insightful. Shoot the shit. I
Right?
learned a lot about crackers.
Instead of calling them goldfish crackers, I'm gonna start calling them goldfish toast.
No, can they be used interchangeably? Like you know how the argument where like all crackers or all toast is crackers, but not all
No.
crackers are toast, or vice versa. So all crackers are toast, but not all toast is crackers, or is it the other way around?
I think it would be the other way around, if anything. But I think it might be interchangeable. I think all toast are crackers and all crackers are toast.
We need to get a cracker expert.
Actually, no, maybe not. Maybe not, because toast can be eaten uncooked when it's just bread, but you can't eat an uncooked cracker.
But is bread toast?
No.
Or is toast bread? Like,
You toast
toast
bread
is
to make
bread.
crackers.
So if you had bread dough, can you classify it as cracker dough if you know you're gonna toast it then?
I guess so. I don't
Yeah.
know, man.
It's like
Yeah, why not?
is cookie dough before it's baked, right? So you
Yeah.
can. This is cracker dough now.
Cracker
I'm gonna call it cracker dough now.
dough. Bread is cracker dough.
We're gonna piss a lot of people off. People are gonna leave.
I don't think you could call it cracker dough though, because the dough implies it hasn't been cooked at all. Whereas bread, so toast is twice cooked crackers. Because it has to
Yeah.
be cooked first to be bread, and then you gotta cook it again to make it toast. So it's twice cooked.
You're right. Yeah.
Fuck.
That's
Twice
pretty.
baked potatoes or twice baked
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like a twice baked potato.
twice baked bread. Holy, it's a tongue twister. Twice baked bread is crackers. Not
We made a breakthrough.
my charcuterie board. It's got ham, cheese, and twice baked bread. You're like, ooh, fancy. It's fucking Ritz.
Yo, Elon Musk is gonna be emailing us any day for our fucking brilliant minds.
For sure, man.
100%.
Let's before Lee gets into the joke of the week, what are we drinking today, folks?
Lucas, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking some white wine, and I'm shooting vodka if we decide we're going down that path. It's Sunday.
Yeah, chat. Let us know, chat. We've decided. I think we're gonna take it a little easier on Sundays and just drink. We're gonna not shoot unless it's like a long weekend.
I'm still down to shoot for the joke penalty, but other than that,
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do that.
What are you? What did you put your wine in, Lucas?
Yeah, is it a champagne flute?
Yeah. it looked like
yes,
champagne.
yes, it is.
Let's see. This guy's so.
You guys made me self-conscious about my shaker, so
We'll use this champagne flute.
yeah, you like that shit?
Better. It's better.
Yeah, it is better. It's
better.
Oh, we got Anadar BR01. I don't know if I'm just reading wrong. They just
Hey.
said for twice baked bread. I assume is it twice baked bread that you agree is fact.
Yeah,
Or the
clarify
shoot,
it for us,
or the
please.
shoot.
And the pronunciation. If I'm just like butchering your name, I apologize. What are you drinking,
still-
Lee? Sorry.
Still
that's
drinking
tequila
this
still?
beauty right here.
Oh, that's the one that was in the thing
What thing?
in your backyard. That's the thing, right?
Oh yeah.
The one that was
Uh,
outside.
Again, it is really good tequila.
I'm drinking a Twisted Teas. I'm throwing it back to the good old days, the glory days. I'll call them.
Have you tried any of the flavors?
Nice.
No, I'm gonna stick to what I like. You know what I mean? Don't want to waste money on the booze that I'm not gonna like.
Smart.
You can return it now, though,
Yeah, you can return.
if you
it.
don't like
Yo,
it.
chat, did you guys know you could return shit to the LCBO, or are we just the only stupid ones?
I did. I knew that they didn't.
No, he's one of us.
Don't classify me as you guy.
If we all go down. No, fuck, I fucked it up. If one of us goes
Um,
down, we all go down.
Yeah, if we all go down, we all
One of
go
us goes down for sure.
I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong.
That's not incorrect. All right, Lee, hit us with your comedy of the week.
Okay, so this is a true story. Happened to a friend of mine. True story. So, so once upon a time, he used to work. He is Filipino, by the way, my friend. This is not you, Matt. This is not about you. And he used to work with another Filipino. And one day he like comes into work and he's kind of stressed out, I suppose. And then my friend says, like, yo, like, what the hell's going on? And he's saying something about, he's like, oh, like, I just took my car into the shop, and they're saying I need to do some like ABS maintenance or repairs and stuff. And then my friend's like, oh yeah, like, I mean, your ABS is pretty important. Like, you should probably do that. He's like, yeah. He's like, but he's like, I'm sure I could just buy a filter and do it myself. My friend's like, buy a filter? Do you even know what the ABS is? And he says, oh, of course, it's the air ventilation system. No fucking way.
Gets me every time.
Oh,
boy.
man. Isn't that killer?
Classic Filipino, I tell you.
Classic Filipino.
That's pretty good. I've never heard that one.
It's not a joke. That's real.
I never heard that one.
It's a real story.
Is it the airbag system or is it the automated brake system?
Automated
Pretty
brake
sure it's
system.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just for those out there that might have thought it was. airbag.
Yeah, it's your brakes. It's your brakes.
So if you go to
it's not your air ventilation system.
So what Matty just showed you is that if you go to a Filipino mechanic, you have 3 options when they say ABS is out.
Yeah. Make sure to clarify.
That's pretty good. I'll drink to that.
I will also take a shot for that.
Sweet. Yo, Matt, for next week's episode, can you ask your grandparents what they think ABS is?
Sure.
Sweet.
Bullshit.
Oh, that's cool. So this week, we're talking the education system and kind of just our thoughts on it, or things that like I think some of the ones we brought up when I was reading this like are now actually going into place, but we'll touch on that when we get there. So because I think there's a lot of shit that we should have learned in school that we don't, and I guess one of the ones that I'm going to start with is I think that in high school, maybe not necessarily, and when we talk education, I'm talking more of the high school side, not necessarily like elementary school. Or do you guys are like some of the stuff you guys?
We're going to talk about both, but yeah, let's start with high school.
Okay, so I think that I think you have to specify when you're going to high school if you're gonna at one day in the future take go for your license, and I assume most people will. But I think that like basic driving scenarios and such is something that should be covered as like a mandatory thing if you're gonna get your license, because there are too many fucking people out there that like I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, how did you get your license? You know what I mean? Like, I don't.
To be fair, and I'm not trying to be a dick about this, but I guess you'd just be assuming because I don't imagine we'd all know. But maybe I'm the asshole here. I imagine most of our shitty drivers on the streets were not born here. Thus, I feel like a high school course wouldn't change a whole lot of that.
That's a good take. That's a fair take. Because actually, the example I was going to give today, I would have assumed. So I would assume exactly what you just stated. But I do also know some people that have grown up and are still.
Yeah,
shitty.
No, for sure.
And to play devil's advocate on my side too, I the only reason why I would disagree with that is I feel like since we do have the driving school, which I guess isn't mandatory, right? There's an incentive where you go to driving school, you get a discount on thing. Is that they should just make driving school mandatory as separate? Only because not a lot of people in high school, like if people were going to downtown, some people might be like, I have no interest in getting a driver's license. I know people who don't have one, so I don't think it would be fair for it to be mandatory.
It would be like, only
mandatory skills.
If you outline that, yes, I'm going to be, like when you turn 16, I guess, what grade are you when you turn 16?
10?
You're grade 10.
Yeah, so it would be like, when you start grade 10, there's like like one of the things, I guess, you enroll when you enroll, like, do you plan on like getting your license this year or in the like at some point in the future? And you have to go, yeah, I do. And then you'd have to take this like mandatory driving.
But then
driving lesson.
Wouldn't that one phase out driving schools, which then
I don't give a that.
Would put people on the streets. Two, I get it. Like it does make good sense, but then it's like then you lose. Okay, you take that course. Now you lose another course that could be to me of greater value for you to learn in the future.
No, you could just replace it with like history. we'll talk. We'll come back to that one.
Right. So yeah, like
I think there's some courses that are mandatory that like don't need to be. So you could swap this one out.
But even like you can learn driving from an online test.
Like gym in grade 9.
See, the thing is, like, I don't necessarily think gym in grade 9, but there should be a health class. Like,
nutrition.
Like our school had weight room where I think would be great.
I don't think that should be mandatory.
No, but one of them, and not necessarily the one that you do in grade 9, is like my take on that. Like, there's one that you do in grade 9, that's like it's very, very generic. Whereas in the later grades, at least in my school, where like you had weight room, you had like the nutrition class. Like, I think it should be one of those that could impact, I think, your health in some way in the long term. Like, I don't think anyone from grade 9, I'm so glad I did the beep test. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think anyone right now is.
You weren't grateful for that? I loved running.
Yeah, unless anyone was just going into sports teams and whatnot.
Yeah. Like, unless you're like an athlete. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I just think that there's again a lot of people that I see driving, and I'm just like, yo, how is it, like the ones that are like, and I guess even if you take these lessons, there's still gonna be people who drive like that. I know that can't stop, but I think there's a lot of stuff that it's like should just be basic knowledge, and it's not.
I would side more on driving standard. I feel like everyone should learn how to drive standard.
Why?
Yeah, I think with the
I think
with
it's
the way
just
the world's
important.
going to like electric vehicles,
Yeah, I
You
don't
know what?
think
you're
that's a
right. Sorry,
waste either.
I take back what I said then.
Everyone should also learn how to churn butter
I churn butter every day.
and make their own cracker dough.
so you can bring your own twice baked bread to charcuterie parties.
That's right. Yeah, no, get out of here with that logic. There,
Sorry, man. That's my bad.
The
I know it wasn't mine.
Well, did you guys have something you want to talk about? Because I got another one that we can jump into now.
So kind of to dovetail off one of your points there.
Oh.
Nutrition. I think nutrition should be learned because if we, everyone eats obviously, and I feel like a lot of our problems with health conditions, obesity, like for example, I was a bigger person because I knew nothing about nutrition, and the nutrition course that was available in my school was like only academic, which was super strange. And then two, it wasn't informative. It was more so like cultural foods. You learn about different cultures and their foods where it's like, well, I have other means to find that out. Like for me, it should be important about like what are carbs, understanding carbs, fats, calories, and how that impacts your health.
I'm cool with that.
Super important.
I'm not opposed to that.
So okay, so you think those things should be mandatory, and I think that's a fair point. What mandatory course do you take out to substitute that in?
The grade 9 PE.
Oh, okay. Oh, so this is okay. Same thing. We're taking out grade 9 PE and filling it with something that covers
nutrition as a whole course.
As a whole course. So it's not even that's not just a subject in the course or like a chapter.
No, it would be like more focused on like the nutrition side. But then I'm like, I don't know if you could talk about the entire like concept of nutrition for a whole like semester. So maybe it would be like a split one. Like remember, like I don't know if you guys would the current civics being like a split course. Like one half would be
that's actually what I was gonna bring
nutrition, up. And then the second half would be like what did you just say as one of them?
I said nutrition and what did I say? Health.
Yeah, like health in a more like I don't know. You could probably have the safe, like the whole safe sex talk, whatever, like whatever you want to classify, like health. Yeah, sure. We'll just say that in general. Because I think like the fact that you cover it in elementary school, like I think it should be recovered more in depth later. Because like I hope kids at that in elementary school like aren't engaging in sex at that point. Whereas like in high school, I think it's obviously a lot more prevalent, which is why I think it would be more important to discuss it then.
So what I'm gathering is that we think the mandatory stuff should be what's relevant to everybody and everything else should be electives. Is that fair to say?
I wouldn't say everything else.
To an extent, yes.
Yeah. For me,
like English, I think should be mandatory.
Well, that's what I mean, because that's one of those things that affects everybody, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, for me, like this is also like because now we're kind of exiting high school, but in elementary school, you try to get rounded in a lot of things, like well versed in every area. Then you go to high school, you start being more specific towards your things. Where it's like nutrition would be very hard for someone who's under 14 to really like be like attentive to and learning about calories and all these numbers. It's like, dude, like you're giving someone advanced math when you're gonna learn some of these steps in math in high school.
Yeah, I think it should be a mandatory class that's in the later years. Like it'd be like a grade 11 or grade 12 course.
Yeah, but there's also courses in high school that, like for example, PE. I did PE. I was a bigger boy. When I didn't want to participate, I'm just like I didn't want to participate. I just get a grade for it anyway. Or to me, it's like, well, then what's the point of me being in this class, really?
I don't know if your guys' school had this, but like we had to take an art of some kind, which I think is kind of bullshit.
No, music could have been a relevant thing, or
I know, but I'm saying I don't think I should have to take art if I'm not someone that's artistically inclined in any way. Like I don't think I'm a terrible drawer. Like my sister, who's 8, draws better than me, and writes better than me probably.
She also looks
like I did drama, like and I was like I did pretty well. Like I was in a TV show for all of you who didn't know when I was a kid, so I'm obviously like born to act. So like a 30-second segment. But yeah, like I don't think that should have to be a requirement to graduate. Like, why do I have to prove I'm artistically inclined in any way? I'm strong suited on more of the law, like the math, the science, like the writing. Like I could do that, but it's like suck at art. Like, why does my entire, you know, if I failed, let's say, that class or graded very low, like it could have impacted like my acceptance to like universities. Like, what the hell's the point of that?
I think that's a great point you make too, because like art specifically, and I say this from a point of being a decent artist. I'd like to say I'm pretty good.
Well, who said that? Dude?
And it's something that I love to do too. I don't know that I'd really say I'm an artist, but like I like art and I did well in it. But also, like I understand the idea of having mandatory art in elementary school and stuff, because you open people's minds to
Yes.
the artistic world and seeing outside of the box, and you introduce them to that stuff.
Even just creativity.
Whereas creativity, absolutely, I think that's extremely important. But as a kid, up until grade 8, art is basically mandatory. Well, no, not basically. It is mandatory.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that time alone will tell you if you're interested in it or not.
Yeah, I knew.
Past that, like when you're in high
school.
Yeah, like
I
you've
knew.
been introduced. You know your stuff. Going into grade
Yeah.
9, I think you know if you want to do art and if you don't. So it should just be an elective right off the bat. So yeah, I think that's a good point there, man.
Yeah,
I wish they incorporate a little bit more, because like I guess for my school, art was either music, art, like actual art, and then drama.
yeah.
Right? Or
I
to
think
me, it's like, why wasn't there like a dance option for like those people who?
yeah, damn.
wanna be
Yeah,
more-
that would have. I would have taken that shit.
Yeah,
in a heartbeat.
and that could have
I
been
am-
part of a physical activity too, or a swap out, where it's like that counts as, you know, something like that.
Yo,
I wonder
hot
if
take,
there
hot
weren't
take.
enough kids interested. Is my guess, because how are you gonna run a whole program when only like 10 kids want to do it?
Well, we had an elective for ballet specifically, but no other dance, and I was like, what happened?
What?
Yeah.
That's kind of, it's cool that you had that, but also kind of weird that that was the only one. Like even
Yeah.
a mixed dance class would be kind of like, because then it could open up to like, yo, I didn't know I was actually sick at ballet. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, you'd
Could we-
expect units, right?
Right.
yeah, because
that'd be cool.
and to your point, you brought a good point. Like elementary school, I think really, because you have to do it all, it really gives you a knowledge going into high school, like what is it that I excel in, or
Mhm.
you know, can continue to like focus on going into high school and into my future after that. Because in elementary school, like we actually had like, I think dance was part of music. It was like one of those units, and like we had like a teacher come in and we did like different types of dances for like a week or two. But yeah, like having a whole course, like I would have fucked with that
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah, I think that would have been really cool, actually. Yeah, I mean, again, just kind of reiterating what I said. Elementary school, I don't really think anyone knows anything, and it's all just fun and games. I think it's mostly like a social thing and building just the foundation of your knowledge and skills. Whereas I really do think in grade 7, 8, I don't think you know anything. I don't think you know what you're going to be in the future, what you want to do. But I think, like you said, Matt, you get a basic idea of what you're good at. And
Yeah.
that should be enough to kind of guide you in high school. And I think there's tons of time in high school to kind of, dip your toes in a bunch of different lakes and figure out what you want to do. But I feel like in grade 7, 8, you do have a good idea of what you're good at.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you
well-
have one, Lucas?
Well, I was gonna say, in elementary school, from what I've read, is apparently like elementary school is preparing you to be social. Like you get in there, you start to learn how to be social with other people. Then it starts teaching you a little bit about responsibility for your grades and like time management for like turn-ins. Like you have an assignment to do it this way. And then high school is really like, okay, like you've done those first steps. You already know how to be social. We're gonna now increase that. This is your work. You have a different workload now. Where personally, yeah, like elementary school is, you're a kid, like let kids be kids, and even elementary school really supports that. Like make sure that it's a fun classroom environment. How would you guys feel? I've read an article on this where someone was stating that like all schools should have every single wall being like just like made of glass, like see-through, like where there should be full transparency. There should be no brick walls, no nothing. And I was like, do you know how many distractions that is for other kids just looking into other classrooms?
What if it was one of the one way, so you could look in but you couldn't see out?
Well, then isn't that still a problem for one half?
No, because
Yeah,
no,
I
because
guess
it
I'm
would only be
assuming you
people
just.
in the hallway
Yeah, that's exactly
could see in, but
Hmm.
people inside couldn't see out. Like
That's fair.
then, I'm not opposed to that. I think that'd be kind of cool, because then you could be like, yo, that like dance class looks sick. Like, I actually might want to take part in that.
Yeah, you see kids engagement, like a principal can walk the hallways and just see kids engagement without, having to enter a classroom.
The only issue I see with that is kids wanting privacy. for example, let's say a dance class. I'm one of those people who I think that would have been sick, and I probably would have taken that course if it were offered in high school. However, I could imagine a lot of people being self-conscious about it, especially
Why would you take it?
well, because they want to try. Maybe they're passionate
I
about it,
see.
and they're like, I
Yeah,
want
yeah.
to try this, but like I'm too nervous to dance in front of people because I'm not good yet.
That's fair.
So that would probably deter people from doing a lot of things, right?
But it's one of those scenarios where you wouldn't, like, you couldn't see them watching. You just, I
But
think
you
that would
knew.
help you break the barrier of like, yeah, like
Well-
you don't see them, but you know that
Well-
someone's watching it, which is a big stage thing, right? Like, you may not be able to see people or
That's true.
see, like, but you.
There's obviously going to be exceptions. I'd say like most physical activities, obviously change rooms and bathrooms,
Obviously.
are gonna be different. But like just like in classroom environment,
Taking a shit.
And Lucas is just waving at everyone walking in the hallway. Hi.
is he okay? He seems to be struggling.
He's been in this the third time he's been in there today.
Just holding onto the stall.
That's cool. Yeah, that's interesting. That's cool. What about like self-defense as an elective type?
We had
See,
it.
That's
We had it
something
in my
that I
school.
thought was really cool. Is in grade
9.
No, I think it was grade 11 gym for us. I think it was just a weightlifting course, not even regular gym. Weightlifting, we had Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I mean, I had been training in that beforehand, but when I saw them come in, I was like, holy fuck, yo, I wish I took weightlifting this year. So I just went in on lunch and just rolled with everyone then. But I thought that was really cool that it was a thing.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Just before we leave the dancing topic, Anna in chat, I have a friend that's majoring in ballroom dancing at U of T. That's kind of sick that that's something you can major in. That's cool.
That's sick. Yeah.
Kudos to them. But yeah, self-defense, dance, like these are all things that I the self-defense thing was, again, we had a segment, I guess a unit in weightlifting or weight training, or it might have even been like a grade, like part of the grade 9 PE in the later years. I was already like in grade 11 or whatever. That it might have been like a week or something that they did something like that, or a couple of days, whatever. But I do remember we had that in our school too, like where they were doing like kickboxing though, it wasn't BJJ.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I imagine most of it, if it were brought into a curriculum for school and stuff, would end up being more so like the stuff you see in like Good Life and stuff, where they do that like cardio kickboxing shit, where it's not like really self-defense, but it's like
it's active, but it's also like
it's active.
if you
but
do it
it's-
enough, you could probably kick someone pretty well.
For
yeah,
us,
like you might work on your form, you
Yeah.
probably get your ass
Yeah.
handed to you on the street, but like you get comfortable.
Yeah.
for us in grade 9, actually, we had a self-defense course, which was not entire, sorry, it was like 3 units of the grade 9 gyms. Like majority of it was self-defense, and they would teach you,
That's kind of cool.
I think it was jujitsu,
sick.
because there was a lot of like throwing people, and it was our teacher
judo?
versus a bunch of like
Judo.
14-year-olds, which was,
It's just
it's obviously funny because
oh, so it's just a big ego trip for him.
No,
It probably
is
wasn't
it
even
though?
part of the unit. He was
Because-
just like, yeah.
Oh, because some of us like me, I came in to grade 9 being 6 foot already, so and that teacher was like 5, I'd say 5'10", 5'11". So it's more like it's an ego trip, I think, for the students, being like, if I can get him, like it shows like a lot of props on me as
like,
a student.
Yeah,
I
you beat the
suppose.
teacher.
Sure.
Yeah, but like it was really cool. Like I didn't participate in it, but I did see like my friends were like where we shared the same gym, even though I had the same gym class. And I was doing dodgeball or something, and just watching them do it, and it was really cool. Like they would spar with each other. They had safety equipment supplied by like a rental or something like that. So
That's
it was really
a
good.
badass gym class. What the fuck? Where was that when I was around?
St. Aloysius Gonzaga Secondary School.
So
That's a
you can
good
see him on the
school.
wall, the graduation wall. I think another one, and I think Anna also brought this up about financial literacy course for grade 9, but like understanding how to get a mortgage and stuff. I've read that that's actually something going into the curriculum as, I don't know if it's mandatory, but I think it should be both the financial literacy aspect, but also like mortgage and interest calculation. Maybe not in grade 9, but at some point in high school, because
In
But
high school?
that's the
it's
thing.
going
I
to
don't-
impact. Yeah,
Sorry.
because it's I don't know.
I don't think it should be mandatory later on. The only reason I don't think it should be mandatory later on is what if you didn't take math in grade 10? Like,
Us, I think you had to until grade 10.
it-
Actually,
it's-
no, for
yeah,
us, you had to take it every year, but you could take the different like levels.
I think ours was only
Except
till
grade
10.
12. Up
Ours
to
was only
grade 12.
10.
Mm.
I'm pretty sure. English was till grade 11.
Yeah,
if I'm
we
not
were the same.
mistaken. But like I feel like you either have to get them early, or I mean, I feel like you have to get them early, Because if someone doesn't take the courses beforehand and they don't have all the prerequisites, I mean, they're
But the thing is, like, for financial literacy, what do you need to know?
A lot.
Like, I think financial literacy, like, to understand, okay, like, which I think as long as you do addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, and understand percentages, I think that covers financial literacy as like a base. Like, you
That's
have that,
fair.
I think you could cover most of
So
that.
that's a very baseline thing. But the only thing that
That's
I would
fair.
find issue is like when I did financial courses in university, I found that I would do over 2 to 3 units of just like finance in mortgages, because you do the first steps of what's a period, what's a term, all that, and you start learning the terminology. Then you start putting them together. Then you learn about not only finances in mortgages, but you learn about bonds. You learn about interest rates. You learn about compound interest rates. That stuff starts taking up an entire year. If you were to put that in a high school curriculum, it would be 2 years of just mortgages, and then you'd be like, but what if I wanted to learn about this other thing? You just spent 2 years on just mortgages, which is why I do agree with it being a university thing.
I
Because
think it just has to be basic though. Like, it doesn't have to be super in depth on like so that in high school, you'd be like, I know exactly how much I need to get a mortgage of this amount. It would just be like understanding what you need to qualify and like building credit. Like, I think that is something that should be taught in high school, because it's like you can start as soon as you basically get out, or in some cases, if you're still in high school, you just have an early birthday. You can be 18, right, in high school, I think, in grade 12 if your birthday's early.
Yes.
Yeah, so you could get a credit card essentially in high school, which then would directly impact your understanding of how to build credit, and like how or like things that I think those are all very important things, because of the fact of how crippling it can be if you get into bad, like if you get into bad credit, that's very hard. That takes like years to get out of. And it's like, but most people I feel like don't know anything about that.
I do agree that it's more important than certain things like trigonometry and geometry for certain people. But geometry, I could see it's points for people who are in like the industries like
trade
schools,
to understand geometry.
But like I think for basic knowledge, that's not as important as other things where we would use day to day. As interest, as you're saying, credit cards and stuff like that, that's super important. Just learning, even just debt management, I think would be a course that everyone should learn, so you don't get there.
Or if you do, you know how, like, you understand the basics of
where
how to get out.
There's a lot of dead courses, in my opinion, trigonometry, geometry specifically. Like, I learned them in university again, and I'm like, why am I still using it? Like, I'm never going to use this, and it's frustrating.
Oh, go Lise.
Yeah, I was just going to say, sorry, 2 points, just kind of take a couple steps back. About, now I completely forgot what I was going to say about that thing. Anyways, let's talk about the trig. I completely forgot what my point was. It's just everyone always talks about. You see all these memes on the internet and stuff, how they talk shit about the Pythagorean theorem. Yeah.
Right.
And they're like, well, I'm never gonna fucking use this shit. Like, this is stupid. Literally, like 2 weeks ago, I was using it to like, because I agree with you. For trades, it's very important. For everyone else, probably not so much. And I do a fair amount of handiwork. So a little background story, I'm putting in a basement bathroom. I was trying to figure out all like how I can fit shit in there, what kind of clearance space I need for doors and whatnot. So I had to do some math and shit. And I was like, oh, look what I'm using. Like, to all you fucking trolls out on the internet, it works. But
to the extent of like Pythagorean theorem, sure, but like sine of 0 or like sine of 90, like when the fuck am I ever?
For angles?
Yeah, you'll use that for I mean, you could dodge it. You could get around it, but like door angles and whatnot, it helps.
Using sine and cosine and tan?
Yeah, man.
No way. What?
Yeah, the swing
angle.
No, the swing of a door, you can't just use a basic angle when it's a curvature.
Yeah.
Oh no.
It makes sense. I understand. You can also, yeah, I was gonna say you could straight up just eyeball it, be like, yo, hold this side of the door and just swing it, and be like, we're good. Like, I mean, sure, like it'll work, but if you're someone who's like an architect or like someone who's gonna be using that like very precise, I understand.
Then, I'd make it mandatory for them, but I don't know.
It's very niche
for me.
Yeah, it's very niche in comparison to what the general population would use.
Yeah, absolutely. It is one of those things that, like you said, Matt, with the whole mortgages and stuff, is give the basics. Let people kind of build an interest in it, and after that, then you go do your electives.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
I think
fuck
just
with that.
opening doors to electives is pretty important.
Yeah, like a lot of the stuff that's mandatory right now, I think should be electives, and
Yeah.
and like this one would be one that I would say is a mandatory course.
What do you
But
guys?
again, maybe not, because you know what? Ultimately, at the end of the day, the more people that are in debt, ultimately, I think, does the government benefit the most out of that? Because the companies that are owed money to is that not taxed?
There's a huge market for being in debt.
I have no idea how
It's
that works.
true. It's true.
One of the biggest markets in the world is literally debt. So
Yeah. And look at the student debt. That's a whole other one. Like, it's crazy.
I'm so grateful.
So I
I
could
paid off
see
school.
why, from you look at it from like a business perspective, why they wouldn't want everyone to be, which is it's sad that that's the way it is, but from a business perspective, why would I teach something that would teach people how to stop me from making as much money as they do? Saying it like I'm the government's perspective.
I mean,
right?
the government's gonna throttle your salary regardless. That's why we have strikes, right?
Yeah, but
So-
does the government not make money either way? Like, even if you're out of debt, they're gonna tax you anyways on your income. And
No,
whatnot.
but
Like,
but
they're
if
gonna
you're
make
in
money off
debt,
you no matter what.
you're getting You're like, they're making more.
yes.
Is it
Maybe-
more?
Yeah, because you get debt. That means you have to pay interest.
And then the interest that is
Yeah,
assuming.
but if you're not
I assume
paying it, if
the
you're not
company-
paying because you're in debt, what the hell are you gonna do?
No,
Is
but
Well,
it
it's
they're
credit.
not getting-
the company that, let's say, like I have debt with TD, I assume they would calculate that interest debt as a type of revenue, right? Because that's essentially where they make their money.
Yeah.
And then is that not taxed to them as a corporation by the government?
Yeah, so why would the government? Because then wouldn't that be TD making money and not the government?
Yeah, but then the more money TD
Well-
makes, the more the government makes, because the more it's being taxed.
Sure. Well,
I may not understand this at all. I might just be,
Why don't they do this in
television-
school?
I assume. Yeah, if only I'd learned this since grade 9 or grade 10.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. That could be, one take. We're coming up on a quick, almost our chapter. I can't believe that was quick. I got like a bunch of other shit. We might not get through all of it.
Yeah, actually,
Um,
I haven't touched my
but-
stuff.
Lee, you went to, just to clarify, did you go to a public school or a Catholic school?
Yeah, I went to public school.
Okay, so I went to a Catholic, and Lucas, I know you did too. Because Anna and Chad said world issues and religion classes can be good too, to be mandatory. So I think it'd be interesting to get your take on that, with you being in a public school, because for Catholic schools, we had to take religion in grade 9. And then for us, it was grade 11, you could take world religion as a course, which I thought was cool. You had to take, I don't know if it was like world religion or another option of religion that was more based on just the Catholic, but world religion on its own was sick, because it was very interesting seeing the different faiths that existed out there. Looking back, like, I didn't really take as much interest into it, whereas like now I think it would have been, I wish I had took more of that knowledge and kept it, because very fascinating with different, and now in a point in my life where I'm exposed to an entirely different culture in like Judaism, it's very interesting, like, oh shit, like I learned about this in grade 11. You know what I mean? Like, which is what they were talking about. So we can jump into that in a sec about what your take is on that, and the world issues piece of it too. I think would be cool. Oh, it's a Nader, not Anna.
Oh, that's freaking Anthony. Oh crap. I'm sitting here looking at you, and I'm like, who the hell?
Anna, how
exactly
dare
who
you?
it is. I know
Oh,
exactly who that is. Oops.
Oh, okay, that's funny. Sorry,
bad, dude. My bad.
A Nader. This guy just called out his real name. What if he wants to remain anonymous on here? You just
Oh,
gave
yeah.
him out.
Lee, you stick? Do you mean I stink? Go back to school.
I think he's no, I think he's calling you a stick as in you're small. I'm sorry.
Or-
I'm sorry I had to mention it.
Or you're brown. One of the two.
'Cause you know them chubby.
Whoa, 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 whoa. What's brown and sticky? A stick.
Yeah.
Horrible.
All right, let's take a drink. And
yeah,
all
let's
you
take
at
a-
home who are watching and enjoying this, it's a gorgeous Sunday night out there. So
What did we
For all of
podcast
you-
Cheers,
again?
guys.
cheers to all of you drinking on the patios. If you had one in your or balcony, whatever. Enjoy that weather.
Yo, it's crazy because
Um,
I was talking about Ontario. For those who do not know, in case you're not there, we just open up restrictions so that you can have patio seating now, but each patio seat or table, can contain 4 people. This is obviously unless you live in a place here called Port Credit, where people are putting like 15 people per table for some reason and getting away
Is it,
with
not,
it.
is,
Yeah,
is
I
it nuts
saw-
out in Port Credit?
Yeah, I went there yesterday, and let me tell you, like, I just walked by a pizza, and they put some tables out, and there's like a family of 7 just seated around a table. I'm like, yeah, I get it. You're a family of 7. There's kids, but it's like people really don't understand the fact that there's a thing called rules. Like, you walk into a store, it says masks only. You wear a mask or you don't walk in. No shirt, no service. Wear a shirt or don't walk in.
Sorry, just real quick. I'm just really more surprised that there were 7 people eating at Pizza.
Yeah, man.
That's
People
fair.
people don't have
It's
taste.
their
That's
chicken.
fine.
It's the chicken.
It's the dipping sauce. They
It's
went there
gotta
for the
be
dipping sauce.
That's all they have.
Yeah. Well, I went to. I tried to book a patio. We were trying to go to the keg today. I tried to book it on Friday, and it was fully booked all day today.
Oh yeah.
But then when I went there, so we just ordered out, and I had takeout. But there was like, a family of 6, and I was like, come on, like seriously.
Would you give a mulligan if one's a baby though? If it's 4 plus a baby, would you then be like?
So this was
that's
4
fine?
plus 2 kids that were like 5 and 6. I'm like, I don't think that should count. Like, I think like they count as people. If you got to pay for them to go on a vacation, they count in the restaurant.
That's the standard. That's that's where we measure it.
What's worse though? A family of 5 or 4 random strangers from different households meeting up? What's your standard
absolutely.
of worse?
Absolutely.
4 strangers, Bobby.
What'd you
Depends
say?
on-
Sorry,
depends
I don't know why. I don't know why you whispered like you were skittish. What was
I
it?
said the 4 strangers.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Well,
If you said the
anyways.
family of 5, I'd be like, we gotta talk about the education system some more.
5 is bigger than 4.
You're not wrong.
So it's worse.
Message retracted by Anna.
Anna
Okay,
from now on for sure.
so world
Back to it.
or religion. What do you want to start with, Lee?
Yeah. So yeah, we had World Religion 2, and it was an elective in grade 11, and I took it.
Oh, we did. Yeah, that's so same.
Yeah.
Samesies.
That's the only thing we had. It was just World Religion.
For me, it was grade
if I'm not
10.
mistaken.
I think because we're more mature at our age than your school or something.
That's true.
Yeah.
I sucked at basketball.
Yeah, no, World Religion was a very fascinating course. I'm grateful that I took it. It was very interesting. Do I think it needs to be mandatory? Absolutely not. I don't think it needs to be. I think that's absolutely one of those things that you can go off onto the side and learn. And no, sorry, go on.
Yeah, I was gonna cut you. No, well, you were in the middle of the points.
Well, I was just gonna say I feel like most of the stuff that I use day to day, except for equations, has been stuff that I went and pursued outside of school. And I feel like that's most case for most people because it shows it's stuff that you're actually interested in because you went outside of school to go learn those things. So I think those things stick with you more. And I just feel like world religion is one of those things that if you're interested, that's something you could totally go do on your own. I encourage that more for people is do extracurricular work.
Yeah, and I don't know, Lucas, with you being like if your school was the same, but in grade 9 we had mandatory religion, which was mainly the Catholic religion.
Right.
And then in grade 11 it was, I still think it was mandatory, but you could pick between world religion or another one. But
So
I think it should remove the mandatory piece of grade 9, even though it is a Catholic school still. Like I'm doing religion from grade 1 to 8 in a Catholic school. Like, because for those of you, I am not like an avid follower or believer of the Catholic faith anymore. Not that I maybe wasn't even.
Is it that you don't believe in God, or you don't believe that he had 12 friends at the age of 30?
That's a lot of friends to have at that age, dude. That's sketchy.
One of them hated him, so he really had
can't-
11 friends.
I can't wait for the most religious day, July 1st, for us to talk about religion.
July 1st, baby.
Excited.
Like I just think you've talked about it for so long until grade 9 that like I think you should give the option of just world religion is sufficient.
So
And it opened your eyes to potentially then what Anna had said about world issues, which we can jump into next unless you have a point about religion, Lucas.
So no, what I was gonna say just very quickly is the way my school did it is that religion was mandatory for 3 years. The second year, which is grade 10, is you can go to world religion or you continue on with Catholicism. And the third one, again, you're back at Catholicism. So it's like, obviously I want a break, but world religion was to me a little overwhelming because they try to put so much. You're learning about all these religions at once, and the good thing is at the end of it, you had a trip where you went to all the mosques, temple, etc.
Cool.
You went to every single not every single religion, obviously, but like you went to like I guess like the four dominant ones that we would kind of hear from. You go to like their temples of worship and learn. There would be a guide out there and be like, hey, like this is what we learn about. This is why people take off their shoes, and it was so great of an experience, like one whole day trip. But then you leave that and go back to Catholicism, and you're like, but I just scratched the surface of all these other religions. That like it's almost not fair to those religions.
I think though,
but you're at a Catholic school.
That's where it makes sense why we're doing it. But it's almost sad that you're like, I'm starting to learn about these things. I scratched the surface of each one, but I don't really get into depth about each one. Like I couldn't tell you about like their rules of a religion, like what all their gods' names were. That was just one quiz. You know.
Sorry, Matt. I know you want to say. I know you want to say something, but I feel like that's the way you should do it: is tease them, and if you're interested, go do your homework. Go
that's
learn.
Fair. That's fair.
Go learn.
Yeah. Because the problem is, if you wanted to offer more in depth, the problem is like I think it's too. Then if you're like, okay, we have a class on Judaism, for example, like the amount of people that are going to take it is too. It's not enough density, because if you're opening it up from there, it's just you won't have enough people to. So I can understand that piece, but like having to come back to Catholicism, I don't think. Again, it is a Catholic school.
Yeah, it's just odd that you went from one.
Yeah.
You had the option, and then back to mandatory was kind of weird.
Yeah.
Where it's like,
that is
give me an option
weird.
and let me explore the option.
Yeah, your school sucked.
I'm pretty sure we beat your school at football, so.
No. The one thing that I think is the coolest about Buddhism is Bubba Sparks made a song for them. It was like Buddha, 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 rockin'. Like that's actually
true. It's true.
He did that.
He did it because of world religion class. He really got motivated, and he decided to explore it off.
Okay.
I found you, my new Buddha.
Horrible. Jesus.
Okay, so what about world issues then? What's your take on that? I'd say no, because I right now really don't give a fuck about a lot of world issues.
That's fair. I say no to mandatory. I say yes to
elective.
Everything being elective. Most things being elective. It's something that I'm somewhat interested in, fairly, I guess. But go do your own homework on that shit.
Yeah, like I don't know if this is a bad take or a bad reflection of it, but it's like I'm so busy just trying to live my life now that it's like when people talk about some of the ongoing world issues, it's like I don't even have time to keep up with that. Like, where do you find the time to, I understand if it's maybe something that's directly impacting the community that you're a part of. Mm-hmm. Totally understandable. But like, to me, it's just like, I can't, I don't have that kind of time. It's hard for me to find time really to do anything.
And it
might just be people like, this guy doesn't give a fuck about anything. Like,
well, that's true.
I don't.
Refer to the last episode.
Yeah, last
where Matt doesn't care about anything.
He's a teacher, by the way. Matt's a teacher, as we discussed last episode.
Yeah, it's true. I teach people how to be better.
It's true.
Or how to find you deserve different. That's what he said.
Yeah.
Anyways,
no, what I was gonna say is, basically what you were alluding to, the harsh reality of the world is when we see tragedy happening on the other side of the planet, 90% of people will say like, oh my god, it's so sad,
and post on their social media,
and boom, turn the other way, and they're on with their day, and it really does do anything. And I get it. It that kind of empathy, it's hard. You can't feel that, but you might put yourself in that situation and you feel bad for them, but like you can't really empathize like that. They're still going through that shit, and you're still going to work.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Your daycare's on, and I get that. But
yeah.
I think the idea of world issues is maybe good to know just what's going on, just to be aware of what's happening in the world. Whether or not you're going to go and do something about it and stuff, like those are big tasks, and I kudos to the people who do, but I think it's important to know what's happening around the world.
What would be interesting about that course too is you couldn't, like, how would you build the curriculum around it, because you got to talk about stuff that's happening like recent. Like it can't be like oh, this happened like 2 years, like COVID happened, you know what I mean? Like
it's history. It's history at that point.
And then I want to jump into that one next, because
sorry, go on.
But it's like, how do you build a curriculum around that? Where is it then just like it's all based on presentation and like your public speaking? Because then, like, I assume a lot of it would be people bringing to the table world issues and then discussing as a class. But then that involves participation, which I don't necessarily which is why it's an elective, sure, because then people, people can freely speak, and I think it would be a good platform for debating. I think like a debating class would be kind of sick to stray a off topic.
Civic.
This could
I feel like
probably
those were involved.
Yeah, I
in
had
some-
one.
I didn't have that in my school.
I don't think it was specifically debating, but yeah, there's something around those.
So
then that would be a good platform for that. Is the world issue?
Yeah, that's fair.
to go in with world issues though, like I don't know if you guys had this in your school as well, but like we had co-op programs. So co-op, I don't know if everyone knows that you can either sign up for a job. Ours actually had options for going to the military, but also like my brother did. My brother did in grade 12. He signed up for co-op military, and then he went to Canadian Armed Forces.
That's kind of cool.
But also for us was go to a country of poverty, learn about poverty, and help build. And you could go do that as a co-op, and that was kind of.
Cool.
I wouldn't say it's exactly learning about everything, but you go see it.
You learn like a bit of a specific world.
So they would send you to a third world. You'd go help the people there. Obviously, under guidance, they would send you with certain people, like let's say Red Cross or something like that. And then you'd go learn it, you'd go build it, and you get credit for it as well as you get paid. And I thought that was amazing. I was like, yo, like everyone should have experienced that. I didn't do it, but I kind of wish I did.
I don't even like going camping. I don't know if I'd do that one.
Yeah, but you know how to pitch a tent, though.
I do.
That he does.
No, but for all like I've been to the Philippines and I've witnessed like the kind of poverty that you see there, which is it's sad to see like how fortunate we are. But that's a cool gives people the opportunity to see that side of those type of issues that exist in the world for sure. All right, let's jump into this one. History. What is your guys' take on history?
Pardon me, sorry.
On history being like mandatory. Even though it's only one, what, grade 10? I think
for me,
I had to do in grade 10.
For me, honestly, like, and it's not like you can obviously the past is the past, but like for me, they really pushed on in our high school Canadian history, and I feel like again, we live in Canada. You want to learn about our history. I think that makes sense to a certain degree. Mm-hmm. I didn't honestly. If you were to ask me a question about anything, any specific dates, relevance, I don't know. I don't really care. I gotta be honest, like I just don't. There's nothing there that I'm like this made me who I am because this all happened. Like, I get it. There was events that happened, which are some of them are super cool to learn about. Some of it's like this is why our government is the way it is.
They built the railroad.
Yeah, like you know what I mean. No, for me, I personally would say it's important.
Make it an elective.
Yeah, it's important to know. I'd say it's more important for you and your family to know your family's history than it is to learn about your country's history because of our country. Or like, we're always changing. Our politics are changing all the time. We're starting to become a communist country. Politics involved here. You know what I mean? Like, our history won't matter in 5 years if we become a communism. So.
I feel like at that point our history would matter even more. That people know our history. Because if communism
we weren't always like this.
Well,
okay.
That as well as if the communists try and brainwash us and be like, oh, this is the best. We'd be like, no. Remember this? Like, being educated in that sense might be helpful, but no, I agree with you. Elective, the way to go. That and geography should have been electives, I think.
Yeah, if you want to travel the world and you want to learn about other countries, good for you. Like, for example, I took geography as mandatory. I am so terrible.
Tectonic plates and shit, how tsunamis are made.
Europe is connected to Canada. It's crazy how this all intertwines.
I was gonna bring that one up.
God.
North America, South America is not
Both
one America.
Yeah,
Until recent.
Yeah,
well, I mean, I think it's always been one America.
It doesn't
like.
feel
I
like
wonder,
it.
what do you think their logic is for why geography is mandatory? What's your take on that? Like, why is it a mandatory thing? Like how you can calculate the person per capita.
I think it was.
Who the fuck cares?
I feel like.
Why do I need to know that?
They tried to just underline like the fact of like Canada geography, like where you are on the map.
I
is
know
cool.
that in elementary school. I think
that's true. That's true.
Covered in elementary school. So like, why don't you take it in high school?
But to me, I feel like that's too heavy of a learning curve for elementary school students. Where like I learned nothing in elementary school. I started learning more about geography when it was pushed in high school.
Bro, we only have 13 territories and states. Like not that many to remember.
No, but what I'm saying
provinces and territories. We ain't got no states.
Oh shit, my bad.
That's why you should take fucking geography, man. Jeez, that's why you take geography.
Sorry, it's because of work. I mix. There's always states.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but in grade 10 geography, do we not learn about trades as well, though? I think we do.
Like maybe, but a small portion. Like
I only took it for grade
Like,
9.
I mean, that much might I still
like
think would be an
tariffs and
elective.
shit. Like
Exactly.
oh, my fur coats were like
Exactly.
They always refer back to like how the set.
Always
settlers-
the fur. Always the fur.
coats. Yeah.
Which I don't think is, again, I think it's elective material, but I think it's a little better than being like, oh, Ontario's next to Manitoba. What the fuck?
Are we?
Fuck them. What?
I thought we're next to Europe.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because Quebec isn't part of Canada anymore.
Yeah, I vote for
we got
Bloc
France
Québécois
Junior
every
right
year,
there.
so
It's Bloc de Quebec. That's what it stands for.
Bloc Québécois.
It's France's stupid cousin that they keep locked up in the basement.
Whoa! Shout out to everyone from Quebec. I hope you guys see this one on the Instagram.
Yo, like my idol is from Quebec, so oof.
Your idol, like you have one that it's like it's made.
I bought
You
it
just
in
leave it on your
Quebec,
mantle.
yeah.
Sick. That's cool.
Yo,
He just watches the wrong
George
version.
St. Pierre, baby. George St.
No,
Pierre.
he LimeWired
Bet
the wrong
99
version of American
Sports.
Idol.
That's... Yo, don't diss my boy like that. Don't diss my boy like that. That's fucked up. Don't diss my boy.
Bet 99 Sports.
I hate that just reflected my face in your phone. I just saw me looking at me. I was like, oh no.
That's hilarious.
Yo, so speaking of like you have these elective courses, we have courses that we find that we might not have use for. How do you guys feel about attendance being mandatory? Do you feel like it shouldn't be mandatory and should be like, if students want to learn, you're more than welcome to learn. But if you want to just leave, just get the hell out.
I don't necessarily know about attendance, but I like the piece of it where it's more like a university class where it's actually, you know what? Sorry, you're right. That kind of does.
It's not mandatory in university.
See, here's where
but it's shit.
Here's where I disagree.
Let me get back to that.
I think attendance should be mandatory because I think up to the age 18, I think that's a prime age where people think they know shit, but
that's true.
You don't fucking know shit. So I think attendance being mandatory helps you build good habits and stuff. And when when you don't show up to class, you get kicked out. And if you drop out of high school or get expelled, your life is pretty well fucking ruined.
Yeah, it's hard. You gotta get like the GED or whatnot.
Exactly, and that's a heavy consequence. And I
GME.
think it's fair. Yeah, you gotta buy GME.
You gotta buy GME.
Whereas I think university does it well because like you're an adult now. If you want to throw your life away, go throw your life away.
So maybe then
don't learn.
Okay.
Some of our sorry, when I see university, I meant more lecture style than it is like you take the notes you want about what I'm saying. I'm not making like, you know how some class give out like handouts, like this is what the content, read it. It's more like, I'm going to talk about it. You take what you think is important from this. Because I think it's a very valuable lesson in life, because I think in a lot of jobs, it's not always going to be, this is what you have to do. You know what I mean? Again, it depends on where you are in a company and such. But I feel like a lot of that to me has, maybe I'm skewed because of, you know, what it is that I do. But I don't need to. I'd rather it be like I take from this what I need to versus being told what I need to learn.
But again, Sorry. Go on.
Go on.
I was gonna say, do you think university is the appropriate area to start doing that? Like, don't you think
Yeah,
you need
and
to be
that's why-
taught to take your notes in high school? And
That's
then
why I
university is
think
like-
grade 12 would be the year that it's done like that. And actually, that's how a lot of our teachers at my school did it in grade 12. It was more of a lecture style, which is why I would keep that to grade 12. And to Lucas' point, to the attendance point, I do agree with Lee. It's I think at that age, it's too easy. People, I think, are still then too what's the word? Like it's easy to like influence, like if their friends like, yo, I'm skipping, like just don't come to class. And they're like, okay, why do I want to be cool. You know, like that's the whole thing. Like
your priorities are not straight.
Yeah. So that's where I think, I'd have to say attendance should be mandatory, but I don't necessarily. I'm not big on memorizing, like having, like I hate that a lot of the curriculum is based on like memorizing.
Where you get gratification off of reciprocating knowledge rather than actually knowing.
Learning.
Yeah, like I think it's stupid that if you were to study all week for a test, Matty, and I cheat one day with 0 studying and I get a better grade, I get reward for it because
You marked higher.
I'm marked higher. Like, and there's no real good way to filter out though, practical. Like, can you actually show me that you know this? Because if you were to do that for every student, we would spend half our semester on, you know, every test would be a individual student. It's music tests were actually the one way that they did it properly. If you didn't know how to play your instrument, when you had your test and it was you versus the teacher and he was like, play this thing and you didn't know, god damn, you can cheat out of that. You just didn't know.
That's true.
It's funny
That's a
that
great
music
point.
actually did it right.
So
But
do
it's
you
very
think
hard
then
to
a
do that
lot
with
of-
math and stuff like that.
I think you could because
Show your work.
I think then a lot of the exactly would be explain how you know this answer, not what is the answer.
Yeah.
And I think transitioning to that would be obviously a very radical change, but I think it's one that would be in a good way because then people can't just cheat. People have to understand. And it's far more valuable, in my opinion, to understand something than it is to memorize something.
So yeah, I think we're touching on such a great point. Just the idea of intelligence, because this is one of those things that drives me up the wall. Is I think the vast majority of people have, by my interpretation, a bad definition of intelligence. They think it all comes from what you've accomplished and not necessarily what you can display. For example, there are plenty of times where I've like read papers or seen interviews and stuff of like a doctor talking about something. I'm like, wow, that was some bullshit. And people will be like, but he's a doctor. I'm like, I don't give a fuck if he's a doctor. What, he regurgitated his information and he spit it out onto test papers and you got good grades. He can't apply anything. And sorry, dialing it back a little bit, what I think intelligence is an illusion. I think everybody's just
Gifted in different
more
ways.
knowledgeable in specific categories. For
Agreed.
example, Stephen Hawking whooped my ass in astrophysics.
And jujitsu, you're that bad at jujitsu.
Fuck, I was just gonna say I'll whoop his ass in martial arts, but I guess not. No, but like pick another type. French, I'll kick his ass in French.
I doubt it.
Or-
He has a full computer.
That's fuck. Yeah, he just changes the language.
Lee's like, I can't beat him. I just can't beat him.
Stephen Hawking's got me. No, but that.
Wow,
see
you
my
even
point?
mocked his voice? That's fucker. You just did that.
Oh.
I thought it was lag,
Wow,
to be honest. I didn't know it was Lee.
I mean, you
That's fog.
you pick the smartest person in the world, like Elon Musk. He could whoop my ass in a bunch of topics, and I could whoop his ass in other ones. So that's all intelligence is who's more knowledgeable in certain aspects. And I think people need to look at it better that way instead of just being like, oh, he's a doctor, he's smart. Do you know how many doctors are idiots? Do you know how many doctors are fucking stupid? I'll give you a quick example.
Do you have a number? You know exactly how many doctors.
Seven doctors are idiots.
Lee's, I swear to God, if you reference that 1 out of 10 dentist who
Colgate.
doesn't
It's Colgate.
recommend
It's Colgate.
Colgate is an idiot.
Yeah, he is. No, but like I'll give a quick example. My brother went to the doctor's one time because he had a bump in his lip, and the doctor's looking at it, and then the doctor strays off to the side and goes up to his ear, and he's like, "Oh, he says something about his lip. He's like, oh yeah, we'll have to do some tests on it." But he's like, "But I'm really concerned about this." And he goes to my brother's ear. He's like, "What is this?" And my brother's like, "My earring," because my brother's wearing black studded earrings, and the doctor was just, "Oh my god, we need to do something about this." He's like, "Bro, it's a fucking earring. So come and tell me that." He's a doctor. He's smart. No, this guy's a fucking idiot. Like
He
fuck
just didn't
that.
have fashion sense. Don't diss him.
Yeah, idiot.
That even ties into an even bigger picture. I think is the whole. So when I was in the ages I was going to university, when I was like year 2.5, I got into this really big, not argument, but discussion with my mom about university because I said that I wanted to stop and take time because I went to school for criminal psychology.
Oh.
And I had found that a lot of it was very fascinating from an interest perspective. Like I loved the whole concept, but as a career, I was like, I don't know if this is what I want to do. I was like,
Yeah.
I love the concept, but like as a profession, this is too much. Like we had some guest speakers come in like, yeah, I don't sleep the same ever since the crime in like 25 years ago. I was like, what the fuck would I want that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's fucking crazy. So we got into this little debate and I said that my mom had a very high standard for me growing up. Like I had to take calculus in grade 12 because my mom was like, you never know if you'll need this in university. I was like, I'm going into criminal psychology. Why the fuck do I need to take calculus? Anyways, she had a very high standard for that. And then I told her, I was like, I need to do this for me. And I said, a lot of my school was doing it for you because I feel like a lot of people hold very high value to having a diploma. Whereas like in reflection now, like I've recently just hired at work, like I don't necessarily care about you have a degree in something unless it's a profession where you need a degree, like let's say a doctor, you know what I mean? Or like an astrophysicist, like someone working for NASA, like, yeah, I probably could send someone who has a degree. But I think experience in your related field is far more valuable than I would rather take someone who's got 3 years of experience but no degree than someone who's like, I'm fresh out of university, I got a bachelor in this. I'm like, what does that show me? It shows me that you can perform well on tests. Like,
the problem is that you see it that way and you see it properly. I'd like to say you see it properly. It's that the government jobs who are supporting the degrees rather than experience,
because it's money. They make money out of it.
Is what's bring down that curve. Which an example is my dream job or my career that I'm trying to go into is an HR manager. What that requires is a minimum of a master's and 10 years of experience.
In incubation?
Yeah, master's in incubation. So like you need both, and I'd value experience over schooling any day, because some people are street smart, some people are book smart. You can show me everything that a book has said, I'm like, cool, can you put in action? And they'll be like,
action it?
Yeah, like you can learn how to build a car. If I told you to build a car right now because you read all the books on how to, would you be able to?
Can you do it?
Probably not. Where someone who's done vice versa, no problem for them.
Yeah.
So
I think that the curve has gone in the way that diplomas are I think far less valued in most workplaces over, like, I think that balance is coming closer to being somewhat equal, whereas like years ago it was never like, oh, you have a bachelor's, like we need you on our team. Whereas now it's like, you have a bachelor's but you have no relevant experience to what it is we do. Like, why does that make you a strong candidate? Like, ultimately, what is having it? Like, sure, it shows you maybe you can manage your time, but that's not something something workplace experience wouldn't show. I feel like a lot of workplace experience you get in most fields where, like you're a dentist. Yeah, there's probably, I'm not going to go hire someone as a dentist who's like, oh, I've got experience. Like, I pulled my buddy's tooth out once.
Get in here. When can you start?
Yeah. But in general, it's just, what does it ultimately show that workplace experience may not? And that's just my take on that.
Yeah. I've got a question that I actually want your opinions on. What do you guys think of?
No.
Fuck. Okay. Yeah. No, I'll give a very specific example.
Broad examples only, please.
I use myself. Training martial arts. Do you think that counts as schooling? I suppose.
If you're teaching.
If you're as a student, let's say I'm going and I'm learning martial arts. Am I going to school? Like, is it equivalent?
It's a type of school. It's a
mentorship.
It's like a subject,
right?
I'd say.
Like the way, and I didn't think about this before. It wasn't until recently, because obviously I've spoken about it before. My goal is to open my own place and coach until
be a teacher.
Until I can.
Just like I'm a teacher.
Yeah.
I'm a teacher.
You are, absolutely.
So what would you differentiate mentorship and teaching then?
Well, because I think mentorship would be more of like a one-on-one and someone coaching you to do something very specific, and coaching one individual.
Right.
And being like, let me take you under my wing.
Well, this is class.
Whereas if I'm teaching a class, and you do your own thing.
What if it's multiple people just in a row? Am I then a teacher?
Just... that might classify it. Or
am I just like I'm just a really good mentor?
Yeah, maybe you're just a good mentor.
Yeah, I mean, I would say so. I would say teaching is if you can provide to a body of students. To me, it's teaching, where apprenticeship/mentorship is really one-on-one, learning the way I do things. Where, like, if you have a student body, you can weed out well, he's saying this, I think we as a consensus disagree. Where in mentorship, it's really just, it's that way or the highway kind of deal.
No, I don't think.
They guide you a little more.
Yeah, and you can. I think a good mentor would be one that, like, you can debate with. I'm like, I don't think we should do it this way, or like, I think it's better if we did. You know what I mean?
That's true.
That's it. Yeah, I fuck with that. It. So basically, you basically become a teacher.
Right. Well, so what I'm saying is, even if I didn't pursue becoming a coach or anything, is it still education? Because I feel like a lot of people would just be like, "Oh, you train martial arts? That's a hobby. It's a passion, but it's not the same as, let's say, going to university or something."
So like an
would
instructor.
it not be the same as going and getting a degree and just doing nothing with it?
No, I'd say getting a degree and doing nothing with it is worse.
I think that's a lot of the population nowadays.
It really is. It really
like
is.
when you see people who have degrees and such, and they're like working in, they're a cashier at Superstore.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean?
What if their career's finance and they're
yeah, they're doing with money.
That's you got to start somewhere. So I'm not trying to diss people that are in that scenario.
That one
upset.
Superstore cashier. What are you doing, man?
They're coming for,
well, like to put it in context, for people who might not know, like on average, it takes about 10 years to get your Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. Now, let's say
you're basically a master. It's like getting your master's.
It's like getting your master's. So let's say
no,
almost your PhD.
Master's is you can do that in 5 years.
Yeah, so you're a doctor. You're a doctor of martial arts.
You're a doctor. So that's my point. Is let's say I went and got my black belt, and then I became a coach and I started instructing. I could become a doctor in that time. Why do doctors do a little bit definitely a lot more important shit, I would say, but they get praised a lot by people saying like, oh, you went to school for 10 years, like you're disciplined, you're dedicated, like holy shit, you went through all that and you're a doctor, wow. But then when someone goes through 10 years and becomes a black belt, they're just like, wow, cool
hobby, dude.
You know how to fight? Wow, can you choke me? Like, I don't know, now that I feel like I'm on that, maybe I'm biased because I'm on that path, but I'm like, I don't know.
That's a fair take. That's a fair take.
Well, to me, it's
you have a curriculum that you follow, and you have to display that you understand what you know.
Yeah.
And I would say even more than maybe because it's not testing in a sense where it's like I can memorize this. Like you have to understand it.
Yeah, you have to be able to perform it, and even more so that I just thought about is it's such a yin and yang with doctors that I think it really
should. Such a martial arts reference. I never read in med school.
Because no, hear me out. It's such a yin and yang with
6 years of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
No, actually, we don't talk about yin and yang in the conversation. We don't talk about yin and yang at all. That's my old Wing Chun coming out. But no. Why they should be respected and as respected as doctors is because doctors save people and save lives and bring people back to good health. And Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, along with basically every other martial art, puts them in the position for the doctors to help them. So like I give doctors jobs because I fuck people up. Like why am I not as respected?
But you know what? What's interesting is that I'm sure there's tons of accounts where someone's knowledge of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu has saved them from having to make a visit to the doctor. If like someone's going to get mugged, 100%. Boom, choked you out, 100%. Triangle.
And it's better than knocking someone out and then them hitting their head on the pavement, cracking the skull, and dying. So Jiu-Jitsu is I just choke you, put you to sleep, say, "All right, man, he cool."
To me, I don't know. Like I don't place that high of a value in book smart versus street smart for that reason. Is that I would consider that street smart for the reason of you're learning it physically. It's called street smart. I wouldn't say you learn on the streets.
Yeah, I want to touch on that quickly before the end.
But like I come from a family of doctors, and I wouldn't say they're all smart people because they're all doctors. I would say a lot of them kind of coast through. They get through the bare minimum. Get labeled a doctor.
I can't wait till you show them this clip at like Christmas.
What the?
Oh, but I said some of them, so like it's gonna be like a family feud, right? So like they're gonna like fight, but like. No one knows BJJ.
There's gonna be a board. Yeah, there's gonna be a board. They'll be like, "Who's on the board?"
Like, potato salad.
No, but like I have a lot of them who are like just from well-off families that are already like. I would even suggest like, hey, I bet they're paying off the teachers to get their doctorates, and it's like that's not good. Like I'd prefer much more knowing that this guy has 10 years of experience rather than 10 years of education. If you were to come to me as a surgeon. And be like, I've been doing surgeries for 10 years. I've got this, but no degree. However, and another guy's like, I've been studying this for 10 years, but I've never done a single surgery. I hate to say
I'm going with
it.
the guy who's
I'd
done
be
it.
more comfortable with the guy who's done 10 years of
Whoa,
surgeries.
it depends on his track record. If he killed all people,
Oh, yes, of course, of course.
50-50?
That's where you'll have to read
That's a
between the
good hypothetical.
lines.
50-50.
Yeah,
As
you'll
long
have
as
to
it's
read between the
like
lines on certain things there. But, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'd be much more comfortable with someone who's been doing this for, let's put it more, less serious, a mechanic. A mechanic who's been doing it for 10 years versus a mechanic who studied it for 10 years. I'm going to trust the mechanic who's been doing it.
how many cars died in those 10 years?
Oh, shit. Brain tumors and...
The cars?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, they're smart cars.
That's it.
Oh,
yeah.
yes, yes.
Matt, you said you wanted
that's
to
a
touch
good
on.
question.
Oh.
What was the take on?
You said you want to touch on.
It's take on me.
Book smart, street smart.
Oh yeah. What do you classify as some what is a street smart quality or trait?
Not
See,
you.
Once upon a time, I hated that term. I hated it because I was like, "What the fuck does that even mean?"
I'm not from the street, dog.
Yeah, like that's the
I
stupid
don't know
thing.
why.
But now, I mean, I'm still not a fan of the term, but I imagine it
Yeah.
would imply thinking on your toes and being able to solve puzzles without it being in
Like it's
an
like it's a
SOP
real world
format.
exercise. It's not
Yes.
like a theory based thing. But it's like,
Yeah,
why do you say it like street smart? Like street smarts just sounds worse.
it does.
Like
It
having
sounds stupid.
street smarts, it's like you're just not smart.
I would
You're just-
Why
say
don't we
so.
just call it critical thinking, or
Yeah.
thinking on
Yeah.
your toes?
Well,
Just so it's so long. It's so much longer to say than street smart. So.
Yeah,
Well,
street smart. Yeah,
And what
like you
about all the
said,
people that
worse.
don't have toes? Then you're excluding them.
thinking on your?
2021, bro. You got to include everyone.
What are they thinking on, man?
well,
Their mouths.
Thinking on your nose.
put it this way: if I were to tell you that I have a friend who's a surgeon, would you assume that person is somewhat smart?
Sure.
Sure,
Yeah, by default, yeah.
sure.
Again,
but
the
if our-
definition of intelligence.
and
whatever,
that's
come on.
where we go book smart, street smart. Is that this surgeon has done 10 years plus of schooling? I would be like, yo, this person's probably pretty smart. The only thing is, though, if you were to put that surgeon in a situation where it's like, I want you to go tell that family what's wrong with the patient, they wouldn't be able to articulate well because they're such a book smart person that they don't know how to empathize with feelings. They don't know how to, resuscitate all that information. Where if you give it to a nurse, and I'm not saying nurses are less smart by any means necessary, but someone who's been in that field, half the education, but like 10 times the.
So you're
I
basically
guess
saying nurses are more street smart than doctors.
I would say so, 100%.
But okay, I think a different way to say it is, I think it should be more. This is like practical. You're practically smart, or you're theoretically smart.
But
where it's
some
like,
nurses might
I'm
know
good.
both better than a doctor, and vice versa,
agree.
which is why I think it's unfair to say. I think the reason why it's put street smart and book smart is just because when I hear book smart, I think of literally, I've been doing literature
that's
longer.
theoretically smart. That's like theoretical intelligence versus
Yeah.
practical intelligence
Yes.
is like, I've done this.
But a doctor
I-
could still be doing stuff more, but a nurse has dealt with certain situations more than a doctor
Agreed.
has, which is why they're going to
Agreed.
be. Hey, I feel like there's so much gray area in this where you're not wrong, I'm not wrong. It's that it depends on the
No.
scenario, right?
Yeah, no. Sorry, I'm not saying. Yeah. I'm just like, I'm kind of.
Stop saying I'm
laughing.
wrong, man.
You're wrong, dude. You're so fucking wrong. You're obviously book smart. I mean, no, that's not what I wanted to say.
Hey,
I'm neither.
This guy complimented him. Yeah, you're neither. Should we?
So
Should we
is
jump
just being smart worse because it's not book? If you're just generally smart, you're not book or street. You're just like, is that like a diss?
you're just dumb.
Or is that what they call a backhanded compliment?
That's
I'm
it.
just-
Yeah. That shirt
just
does not
smart.
make you look fat.
Oh,
For all the sensitive people out there. Should we jump into a related hypothetical?
sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is there are two parts to this. First one being, what was your favorite course in high school? These aren't hypothetical at all, actually. These are just kind of questions.
Philosophy, grade 12.
Philosophy, grade 12. That does sound like a great one. That sounds like a good. Why?
And my great teacher, first of all, excellent teacher, Mr. Dollamore. Shout out. If you see this, hit me up, HM me on Insta. He was the first teacher I had that broke out the whole university approach, where it's like, I'm just gonna stand up here and talk, and like make diagrams or whatever when it's relevant, you take notes on what you find important. And I think that was a very critical life skill that he kind of opened the door for that. And then obviously, the years that I was in university and stuff, I think it just built off of that. But he was also he was just a really good teacher because maybe it was just the topic too. It was great because people would get into debates in the class, and he would kind of like, all right, like let's see what this person has to say, and then he would be like, okay, does anyone have anything to say against that? And then sometimes he would give his own opinion. So it might just be the topic itself, but he was such a good teacher for it. And he was a Canadian. I'm pretty sure he was a Canadian fan.
So you would say your teacher more so than the course.
Yeah,
it's your favorite class still. It's still your favorite class.
Philosophy was like I love that class because it opened up the avenue for a lot of the stuff that we talk about nowadays is related in some way or another to a philosophical approach, whether we know it or not.
Absolutely.
A philosophical approach of thinking.
What about you,
definitely,
Lee?
probably my favorite.
Me, it would be grade 11 and 12 physics. My teacher, Mr. Droppo. This guy was jacked, like too jacked for a teacher. And it's funny because like he would do this stuff like subconsciously, and we're all the time we'd be like, oh come on, like he'd draw a little diagram on the chalkboard and he'd be like, so you see the cart's going that way and friction's going that way, and we're like, come on man, like what the fuck is wrong with you? No, but legit,
that's pretty funny.
Physics, I love physics. That was definitely my favorite course, and especially we had a unit on critical thinking, which I am the biggest advocate in the world. Like everyone needs to think critically, but it was such a fun unit where we were all just given a project where we had to go find a topic that is somewhat bogus. It didn't necessarily have to be a conspiracy theory, but like find a topic and dissect the shit out of it and tell us the conclusion you come out with. So I picked The Secret and dissect the shit out of that. Great course, great teacher.
I think the teachers play a big role in that Absolutely. Too. But Lucas, that's yours because I got another point that I want to make for Lucas on that. Let's hear your take.
So actually, the reason why I want to go last is because I'm gonna ask a follow-up question, but we'll see how it goes. My actual favorite course was in grade 11 religion, and the reason being actually was again because of a teacher. Is because we didn't actually really do much religion-based stuff. We had a small class. I think it was like 11 students for some reason. It was super small. And what our teacher did, Miss Piakowski, if you're out there, like props to you, is that we had a class full of introverts. I didn't know anyone in the class, so I guess in that point I was kind of an introvert. And she would kind of make us all go throughout, like, what's your struggle today? And we'd all kind of go around the room, talk about what we're going through. And it made us all kind of break out of our shell because she kind of, made us all open. She would talk about her personal life. We would talk about ours. And she legit became like one of our friends.
So good, an actual good guidance counselor.
Yeah.
Like they're supposed to do.
And this is where, there's certain points in time where, and this is kind of to segue off my question is, I feel like sometimes teachers should have more control over what they're teaching for that reason. But then there's also the opposite, where you can have a teacher teaching the extreme of what you don't want your kids to learn, and which is why it's almost like you want to give teachers freedom to to teach, but then you don't want them to abuse it or use it incorrectly.
It too far.
Because, for example, that Miss Piakowski thing was fine for me. My parents probably would have been like, that was so great of her. One of the other students' parents might be like, that's not why they're in here. They're not here to learn about their personal problems. They're here to learn about religion. It's like,
they're here to learn about Jesus and Santa.
They're not wrong to think that, right? So, but she really opened our eyes to a lot of like empathy and stuff like that. Even just like, talking to us about our day-to-day high school stuff, how we can deal with situations. Like she helped us a lot with that as a group of 11, and it made us as a group of 11. None of us knew each other at the end of the year. Like we're all like friends, so it was great.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I want to just quickly jump into another one. My grade 12 biology teacher. We had a whole unit on evolution, and in a Catholic school, which I loved, because there were obviously things that he would talk about and be like he would joke about like, oh, the religion teachers like wouldn't be a fan of me talking about like this particular thing, but it really opened my eyes to like after that class, I was like, how could you not believe evolution is a thing? Like after I had that class, I was like it's right. It happens in front of our eyes and has been for like our entire lives. Yeah. And people are like, it's comical that people are just like, no, the Earth is 2021 years old.
Yeah.
So that class, like,
well,
yeah,
no, but
What?
Because they still believed in time before Jesus, but
No. Oh no. That's not true.
The-
The
Well,
Earth started with Jesus, dude.
I
That's why they
guess.
celebrate July 1st.
Okay, I have a
Uh,
follow-up question.
Jim- sorry. Just one J Mark shouting out that nurse practitioners, MPs have more practical experience and do more schooling than doctors, but can do all the functions of a doctor, but get paid much less. Hung out.
Why? So it's just the title. It's literally just
I would disagree in doing more schooling. Doctors usually do twice more, sometimes a little less, sometimes a little more than practitioner nurses. And that's because I was actually an LPN, which
Okay,
is why I'm telling you that.
Hold on 1 second. I need to call someone out here. So our moderator felt that not J Mark's comment about the the nurse practitioners having more practical experience and doing more schooling but getting paid much less. She didn't think that was relevant, but what she did think we should know is that not J Mark said, "I thought Lee did pottery class and basket weaving."
So did you? Okay,
fuck
the
you to
real
both
question
of
is,
you.
did you do pottery and basket weaving or no?
Yes. No. I
And
didn't.
all of Lee's
No, I
pottery looked like dicks. She's like, what's going on, Lee? Why else you
hands.
pottery?
Were made for. No, legit. I mean, I started engineering and then I did art. So you're not far off. Okay, the second question I want to ask real quick before we head out. What's one course you wish you took in high school?
Stats. In grade 12.
Stats. That's not bad.
Because like we were talking about earlier with the mortgage and the interest rate calculation stuff, like that was something that people were like, oh, that's, you actually learn that in statistics, where I didn't take statistics because I didn't think it was relevant to the, again, nor was calculus, but I had to. But looking back, like had I known that, I would have done that. Because it was only like this year, I was on the phone with my bank, and one of like the operators kind of was telling me about like how interest is calculated, like compound interest, and I was like, this has been the most insightful call I've ever had with a bank. I was like, in like a matter of like 5 minutes, she's like, this is how it's calculated. And she like gave me all of the numbers. So I made like an Excel tool to like calculate. I was like, this is fucking incredible. Like, I was like, why do we look like, why doesn't everyone know how to do this? And she just like laughed and was like, yeah, I don't know.
She's a teacher.
That's
Yeah, she is. I'm gonna call her Miss whatever her last name is. But yeah, that I would have done that because of the impact again that it has, I think, on her lives for school.
Mm-hmm. That's good. You, Lucas?
I wish I took more into trade school. I feel like
course.
Well, I took.
We had woodworking.
We
had like automotive.
I did take shop. I did take automotive. I wish I went more into trade school. A class that I wish I took more, I guess, would be like they didn't have this though. Would be something like more into like household like renovations, plumbing, anything like that. Like I wish they had something more. Cause shop, like, I guess the shop class had woodworking, had all that. It had like more basic drywall, which is kind of common sense in my opinion.
That's a hot take.
I
like,
don't think so.
Basic like house rentals.
But I wish I learned more about like just plumbing, like or electrical
that's
or.
A whole, you gotta go to school for like 4 years for that shit.
You can check my pipes anytime.
I do.
I feel like that's a very specific field to get into. Like I don't know if
you just call Lucas's idea basically.
That's nothing new. That's nothing new.
No, I'd fuck with that. Like house renos as like a grade 12 class. Yeah, that's cool. I don't want to go to those Home Depot, like those Home Depot. They do those seminars. Like Sundays where people can come in.
Do it yourself things. Yeah. Fuck that.
DIY. Say it how it is, baby.
DIY. That's right.
Where will you leave? And then we'll end it.
Yeah, mine would probably be like
let's just end it.
Mine would probably be philosophy, or some kind of course where there's a lot of debating, because that's something in the past couple years, 3, 4, 5 years, that I've discovered I'm quite passionate about. I like to debate, even if
Would you say you're a master debater?
3 times a day.
Who do you debate with that off?
Myself. Hi. No, but legit. Like even if I believe the point you're saying, I'll play devil's advocate just because, and it's not because I'm a confrontational person, but I just like to see how minds work. I love the art of a conversation, and
some people think you're the biggest dick because of that, but
yeah, that's a fact.
I do. So
wait, you say am or have?
Am
have. I am have. Why English is mandatory, so we're told.
Yeah, that's that. Wonderful Sunday, folks.
Yeah, guys. Again, you know what? The Devil's Advocate's why this podcast is where we're at still. So appreciate y'all tuning in for another Sunday, and we'll see you guys next week. Let us know if there's something specific you want us to talk about. Otherwise, we're gonna figure something out. So
Enjoy the weather, guys.
much love, guys.
Have a good night, guys.
Peace.